again, this is the Buckeye Cast. This is Joe Warwick coming to you from St. Petersburg, Florida. Once again, I've got my brother Jeff. He is in Orlando. Today is Wednesday, the 21st of September, 2016. We're really going to recap the Oklahoma game pretty heavy this week, get into some stats and things that jumped out at us, like the score. Maybe the first half, I don't know. Plenty to dig into there. And Jeff, what would you take away just as a general thought from the game, other than wow?
Well, first of all, what's up, brother? Good to hear from you. Good talk. Hello, Buckeye Nation. First impressions of the game, kind of just, I guess, overall pleased, us playing and looking the way I thought we would, or at least hoping we would. Definitely, you could definitely tell that we have better athletes, to a man. Yes, they made some plays, but very pleased with how we stood out offensively. Just being able to move the ball as well as we could after that first drive.
Yeah. Holy shit. That first half was insane, man. 35 fucking points. I was blown away. I did not expect that. I just think what stood out to me was our speed. We got too many fucking athletes out there at every position. Even with Conley going out on defense, I mean, next man up. They didn't stop us. Oklahoma didn't do anything.
No, it didn't matter. I mean, not once after he went out of the game did I say, "Oh shit, we're weak on that side," or this guy keeps getting burnt. Ward or Lattimore pretty much stayed on the other side, but Ward and Arnett, I didn't really see a drop off.
Yeah, I was less than impressed with Baker Mayfield too. I don't know where all that fucking hype came from. That dude is not a good quarterback. He plays
against a lot of Big 12 defenses.
Right. Yeah, you can look really fucking good in that
right.
conference. He's a poor man's Johnny Manziel, maybe a little bigger, but without any of the skills, really, I was not impressed. I was really, really happy with the 291 on the ground for the Buckeyes. Going against Oklahoma, who we heard all week wasn't gonna allow anything on the ground, was gonna totally stifle us. They were
gonna load the box and make
right.
JT throw, which I think he showed him he could do that as well.
Yeah. It did turn into the JT show, both running and passing. He didn't light up the passing stats with a $150 and the 4 touchdowns, but 74 rushing, I'll take that. But the 17 rushing attempts, I'm not too pumped about. But got it done.
Yeah. I didn't like, having to run JT that much. But our offense, we after that first drive, we moved the ball, pretty much at will. Just about everything we were doing. I didn't see a lot of drop balls. I didn't see, our third down conversions.
That could have been better.
Very impressive. Could have been better, but for what the game was, going out and playing in Norman with a team that everybody up until Saturday night, and maybe some still do, thought was a really good Oklahoma team. Yeah. A lot of people did before the season started, talking about you almost penciled them in for the Final Four. Houston and Ohio State had a few things to say about that, about wanting to be in that Final Four.
Once again, Oklahoma doesn't live up to the hype. How many times have we seen this?
It seems like every year that they come in with a lot of hype, they shit the bed. Stoops has had some great years, a little more, maybe some more under the, when he was coming in a little under the radar. I don't know if that's just a product of him or, honestly, I think they do have a good team. I just think we're head and shoulders better. I think they will win a lot of games, but I just think we're on a different plane than those guys.
Oh yeah, it was very obvious early in the game. Curtis Samuel's 36-yard touchdown run, and then Jerome Baker with the 68-yard interception return. What just athletes all over, and pencil in Jalen Holmes there too with the assist on the
great play by Jalen.
Oh,
great play to get up.
That kid is coming out of nowhere and making plays, man. Didn't hear a lot of hype about him coming into the season, but that dude's in the backfield regularly.
Yeah, we have 3 solid rush ends. With Hubbard and Tyquan, neither one of them are really playing badly to warrant him getting more time. But I think Coach Johnson's going to have to figure out a way to get the 3 of them on the field together, with not compromising our interior integrity as far as run stopping. Yeah. Oklahoma, they did get 178 on the ground, 5 yards of carry. Definitely that, along with other things that the coaching staff probably looked at after the tape, a lot of things improved upon. But overall, please, just athletes everywhere. That game could have been played 12 quarters long, and it would have just gotten really ugly for Oklahoma because our depth, we didn't even get a chance to really, show them our depth. I don't think their 2s and 3s are nearly as good as our 2s and 3s either.
Right, and Herb called the dogs off late in the third, and
for sure,
in the fourth,
for sure,
because his boy Stoopsy.
Those coaches, they're both well-respected coaches. They don't want to show up the other guy. Stoops, for all in all, seems like a pretty good guy. Pretty kind of lax on some of his punishment style.
Yeah,
I'd say. But he knows. He knows the room. His room in Norman. He knows he's got to win football games. He's got to. It's Norman, Oklahoma, for fuck's sake.
Yeah. Yeah. Not to talk too much about Oklahoma, but you do have to wonder about his future. Should they lose maybe a third game this season? We've already heard some whispers after the Houston game. You got to wonder what happens if the pressure starts coming from the boosters and everything. At the end of this season.
Eventually, he's built up a lot of goodwill there. But one national title, he's gotten thumped in 2 other national championship appearances. USC got him in, was it 04, and then Herb got him in 08, I believe. He's built up a lot of goodwill, but at the same time, he's been there, 15, 16 years, something like that, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe even 17, right around there.
Yeah.
Dick, you can kind of wear your welcome out.
Yeah, he's lucky he still has the same AD that he reports to that hired him. So until that guy goes, he's probably not going anywhere.
Yeah, that goes a long way. It's like general managers and head coaches in the NFL. They're kind of tied to each other.
Yeah. Yeah, let's talk about some of the scoring plays quickly. Like we talked about, Samuel and Baker showing the Buckeye speed early. That was nice.
Great call on that 4th and 1. That quick sweep to Samuel.
Yeah.
Just getting to the edge. Probably from film study, coaches saw that. Hey, we just got to get to the corner. If we get our blocks, our original blocks, Samuel can get to the corner. Right.
Yeah.
And it's a great call. That play by Holmes tipping the ball. That ball wasn't getting completed even if Holmes didn't touch it.
No.
Just looking what the coverage was. And then you got Jerome Baker, the kid, ever since that spring game with that one-handed grab in the end zone, you can tell he's just got that knack for the end zone, and just he could have ran 200 yards too and would have gotten caught. He was gone.
Yep. I've been high on this kid since we saw him, like you said, in the spring game, and even the hype wagon when he came in as a high-level recruit.
Mr. Football in Ohio.
Exactly.
Senior year.
Yeah, it's paying dividends. And even talk about Lattimore. Don't forget he was a 5-star. He's been dinged up with the hammies for two years, but that kid's out there making plays.
Yeah, I mean, all the hype about him, I remember hearing that, there's talk about him maybe playing offense, playing receiver, going to corner. I think corner's is his more natural position. If he can stay healthy, I mean, all of our guys are 4 and 5 stars. I mean, they're all highly recruited. Yeah. It just, a lot of these guys, Noah Brown, these guys just if they're healthy now, you're going to see it. We're seeing the talent that we expected to see.
Yeah. They got dinged up, both of them, early in their careers, and you kind of forget about guys when they get injured, and you hear about things like what could have been, or this guy could have been a stud this year, But it's
a
nice
lot of that. Yeah. Sorry, Joe. Go ahead.
It's nice to see it pay off for him.
Well, yeah. A lot of that has to do with, you got some pretty good fucking players in front of you. Yeah. You get injured, well, then that guy in front of you, like an Eli Apple, Eli didn't do too bad. So, of course you don't kind of think about Marshawn Lattimore's, hamstrings, because you got, if Eli was out there in Conley last year just getting beat repeatedly and, a constant discussion for the coaches and it being brought up in press conferences, we need to get better in the back half and all this. If that would have kept going, then you might start, get some people diving into, well, what's up with this kid? Or, too bad we don't have this kid. You get kind of, if there's talent behind, if there's talent coming all the way up the ladder, you fall off, that other guy's coming to the top and he's going to be able to stay there.
Exactly.
So,
yeah. It sucks if you lose your position to injury, but it's the way the game goes. Yeah. Noah Brown, got to talk about him with the 4 touchdowns. What an effort! Jesus Christ. I don't know, man. That first one was nice. He caught and just kind of looked at the defender like he's towering over the guy as he's falling to the ground. Hilarious.
He might have uttered, "Get off me."
Probably.
Like, what do you? Just get fuck off me, bro. What are you doing?
Yeah, he had the nice long touchdown where I think he got both feet in the end zone, got him down. What was that? The 37-yarder.
Yes.
And that was in the second quarter. And then of course the catch of the year. I don't give a shit what happens the rest of the year in college football. That was the catch, hands down. Nobody's going to do that. Nobody's strong enough to do that.
Right. I thought I thought just watching it live, PI for sure on the defender, because I didn't think he was in bounds, and you couldn't really tell for sure if he had it caught. But the guy, I said, well, shit, at least it's gonna be first and goal. And then they're like, oh, he held on, and I'm like, how the fuck did he keep his feet in? Because that dude was shoving him out of bounds.
Right, he's carrying himself and another guy and the football out of bounds.
Right. Probably the worst thing that could happen to a defensive back.
Yeah.
Never actually had a guy catch a ball and pin it to me.
Yeah.
But that's got to be pretty fucking embarrassing.
At least if it happened to you, it wasn't on tape.
No. yeah. Definitely 80,000 people weren't watching it live, and another couple million at home.
Right.
That's for sure. But yeah, I mean, a couple of those were just brilliant play designs. Tight end, all receivers, empty backfield, loaded to the right. Brown's out there on the island by himself. You motion the tight end over to the left to get the protection you need, and then you just the mismatch. If Noah Brown is on an island with a corner, give it the fucking ball every time. Yeah. Let him go up and make that play. He just proved that he can make that play repeatedly in this game.
If it's man coverage, he's open.
Right. Just brilliant play design and play call just to see it. I saw ball motioning over to the left. I'm like, make sure that we don't bring coverage over there. But it was perfect. It's just perfect play design, perfect play call. Noah Brown can execute that play now. Yep. It's probably a huge confidence booster for the offensive staff seeing that. And and exploiting it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Great
really
call.
taking over that Mike Thomas role from the last couple of years, and similar body style, and it's good, real good to see 4 touchdowns out of him, and confidence for him and himself and everybody else, JT and the staff, like you mentioned. So
Definitely.
yeah, I would have liked to have seen the Buckeyes in the second half come out a little harder, and I don't know, we didn't have to put up 70, but that third, like middle of the third and the rest of the game into the fourth quarter was really hard to watch. It's like the first half was a track meet, the second half was a fucking, I don't know, potato sack race. It was terrible.
The part of every track meet where you have the 2-mile run,
Right.
and everybody's like, let's get to let's get back to the relays.
Yeah, get off the track.
Right.
Yeah.
Go run in a parking lot.
Got a little tense there in the third quarter when we gave up 2 scores. Defense, had some miscommunication, and it just I was somewhat concerned, but they only scored once in the third. My bad. I thought they went in twice for some reason. It was a fourth down, I think.
Right.
That they didn't convert. They were 0 for 3. Jesus, that's defense standing up, man.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I knew they were gonna move the ball on us, because Baker Mayfield he's a good distributor of the ball, and he can make plays with his feet. So I mean, I wasn't expecting a shutout by any means. I was kind of alarmed at 6 yards per play, what they averaged. They had a big long end around to that Westbrook kid. I think it went for like 35 yards. They hit us with some big plays, but kind of that, just like the first drive, that kind of bend, don't break. And you might talk about Oklahoma's missed opportunities. Samuel had JT overthrew Samuel on a long bomb that would have been a touchdown as well. So I mean, both teams had a few missed opportunities, and in a game like that, 2 good teams, there's always going to be a few missed opportunities. Ohio State said, we missed that one. We're just going to get another one. Oklahoma seems like they needed every single break they could have possibly gotten to be able to hang with us. And once they weren't getting a few of those, okay, lights out.
Yeah. So, we touched on the defense a bit with the pick 6 by Baker. Lattimore we talked about. Almost forgot to mention or recall that interception that should have been by Lattimore, where he actually ran the route the receiver was supposed to run, and
it was a beautiful route.
Oh my God, the DB was way behind him. Thought that was a pick, really freaking close. I don't know what a catch is anymore, for Christ's sake.
No, I saw a Twitter exchange between Darren Lee and Marshawn. I think it was Darren Lee, and Darren Lee was just telling him, you gotta make no question about it, because kind of putting it in the ref's hands, you'll get screwed every time. So because what Marshawn was just saying, I caught that for real, but you never know when the ball that close to the ground. It pretty much, whatever gets called on the field is going to stand. I don't know what the percentage is. I would say it's probably 85% of the time.
Right.
Because sometimes you just can't get the angle from like the jersey looking out. Mm-hmm. Put a camera on their jersey and you might be able to get the view. But
right. Yeah, and Baker, on top of the pick 6, if that wasn't enough, still had 1.5 sacks. The kid is just going to make plays every game. You pay attention to him when he's on the field. And I was happy with some of the pressure they brought on defense coming from different positions that we hadn't seen thus far, like Hooker getting in there for a half sack. That was nice. That was that was when they were down inside the 5, I believe.
Yeah.
Going into score after that big catch down the sideline that Lattimore fell down on.
Right.
So Hooker comes in.
Hooker came in.
Yeah, blitzes from the safety position and shoestrings Mayfield. And then Sammy Hubbard had a half, and Holmes had a half. So I like the pressure especially from the D line, and then
on Latimer's interception, Bosa had a great pressure on Mayfield, getting him reeling, kind of threw it off balance. The one that Lattimore did cut in front of.
Yeah.
I thought Bosa was going to have him. He should have taken the sack.
Yeah.
Because throwing it like that's just easy pickings for a defensive backfield caliber of ours. But
right.
Overall, I didn't really see anybody. Didn't really see us losing any one-on-one battles really across our kickoff coverage on Mixon. The first one, the guy didn't lose contain. He went up the middle and then broke to the right. I don't know where the breakdown was. I think that might just be a product of we got a lot of smaller, fast guys running down there, and I think a lineman just put a good block on a guy.
I saw two guys get blocked by one. I think the kicker might have been one of the two.
Yeah, if you can't depend on your kicker to make a tackle. If he's the one that you need to make tackle, somebody else broke down somewhere. But I wish Paris Campbell would have been watching that ball, because if he recovered it, then it's our ball wherever Campbell gets tackled at, because it didn't go into the end zone. Even if it went in the end zone, it would have been ours at the 20 if he had recovered. But I'm sure that was another coaching or teaching moment that Herb said, hey, if you guys are watching, if a guy gets behind you and he's running the end zone, pay attention if he drops that ball. Some dipshit this year is going to do it again.
Oh, yeah.
After what we saw with the Cal-Texas game, there's going to be one more asshole. And hopefully if he's playing against us, whoever's chasing him pays attention and picks that ball. I'm talking about a backbreaker.
Oh, God.
Oh, Lord. If we would have taken that ball back, and all the crowds would have been like,
take 7 off the board.
Yeah, and that was really the only thing that kept them near, kept any kind of life in that team, in the crowd, everything. Right. Mixon's a hell of a player. I mean, he was there. He was the only kid. And I heard somebody saying this Saturday night, I forget which one of the analysts from which station. They said Mixon looked like the only kid that belonged out there for Oklahoma amongst the talent of Ohio State.
I would agree with
that. Similar to Terrell Pryor's freshman year when we went out to USC.
Right.
Beanie Wells was injured,
right.
And I heard the same thing. Just the talent disparity was so great that we had one guy that looked like should have been on the field with that team. Mm-hmm. It was pretty much role reversal this time around. Mayfield doesn't impress me at all. P. Ryan, the dude runs hard, but he's easy to tackle because he doesn't go anywhere.
Right.
But Mixon's one of those. Mixon will play in the NFL. Mm-hmm. If he's not in jail or arrested or whatever. But
sketchy past, you might say.
Yeah, a little bit.
Allegedly. Yeah. Some things we need to tighten up as a team. Penalties again. I know this is a young team. You're going to have that. Blah blah blah. But this is the third game, and we racked up double-digit penalties again. So
some of those were delay of games. And that problem with getting the playoff and getting I don't know if it's getting the play into the quarterback or if it's JT. He's sending like 3 different guys in motion, one after the other after the other. Mm-hmm. When we're at 2 and 1 on the play clock, and there's a couple he just barely got off.
Yeah, that was extremely frustrating.
And I looked like Herb was ready to blow a fucking gasket.
Oh yeah. And burning the 3 timeouts in the first half early on, when we might have needed those, when we go in to score in the second quarter before the
Thank God we didn't need them. But but we were going to get penalties on those. Yeah. I think one was a 4th down. We called on defense. I think it was a 3rd or 4th down that they were going for, and they had a formation we didn't recognize or something like that. But having to burn 2 to avoid delayed games, getting a couple more delayed games. I'm glad we're not seeing the undisciplined ones though of fighting after the whistle, or grabbing dude's face mask or taunting.
Yeah.
We're not getting too much of that. I think there was one taunting penalty. I want to say there was one taunting penalty on us on one of the touchdowns.
Okay.
Maybe after, but it was after the play. I mean,
Yeah.
it counted, but
Right.
there wasn't too much of that undisciplined, fighting, unsportsmanlike conduct shit.
I don't think you're going to see that. I'd be shocked if you see that with this team. They just go out there and play the game. I don't think that somebody's going to rattle them mentally, or get in their heads. I don't see it happening.
Yeah. I mean, maybe some of these interconference road games. I'll take a few against Michigan. I mean, I know that's going to happen.
Yeah.
Brothers going to be fighting. But those usually
Seen
get
that
called.
rodeo before.
Yeah, there's a couple of those. Dantre's still on this roster.
Yeah,
So,
you don't forget shit.
No, they try fucking around with him like that, and that was borderline criminal that year.
Oh my God.
In Michigan. Yeah. But the stuff like that. If a dude is standing over top of you and taunting you, or grabs your helmet and rips it off, hey man, who am I to say not to step up and not back down? I can't. I wouldn't back down either. So, some of those might come in certain situations. You can kind of almost expect it, but but 11. You're right. 11 penalties for 75 yards last Saturday. Not good. Not good. It's definitely got to get fixed. That play calling issue has to get fixed.
Right.
We're going to go into some tough venues here the rest of this conference season. Mm-hmm. We're going to need to be able to communicate faster and get plays in, and get in. Not much tempo. I mean, we ran the play clock inside of 10 almost every play. I think.
Yeah.
Maybe not even huddling sometimes, but still moving guys around. Changing formations. Too much. It seems like too much that you're almost trying to outthinking yourself.
Yeah.
I think we can just line up and go hard and go and better and just be better at the point of attack, as opposed to shifting and then going empty backfield and then bringing a guy back in motion. And I don't think we need to do all that consistently. Mm-hmm. I would like to see more tempo in our offense. Now, I don't agree with the run a play every 10, 12 seconds and it's the same play, just dive, or read option. Because Auburn does that and their offense is putrid.
Yeah.
But
doesn't make for good football, that's for sure.
But more tempo, just more consistent.
Yeah.
Get the play, get it called, get out, get set, go. But yeah, we definitely got to be working on penalties. And Herb said as much. Obviously, the coach staff's aware. There's a lot that they can still improve on, which should worry a lot of teams that are left on our roster. Definitely.
Yeah. I was happy that Conley's okay. Herb announced this week that just had a stinger, and it was just a precautionary measure to keep him out. But he will be practicing this week, so that's good to hear. Especially for him, the dude's probably going to go in the first 2 rounds as an NFL corner, so wouldn't be surprised if he goes first round. I think he's got lockdown skills.
Yeah, it worried me. I thought it was his collarbone for a second.
Yeah,
the way he wouldn't move his hand, move his arm.
Yeah,
I thought just from the way the hit was, it seemed like I was like, oh shit, that's either like a shoulder or collarbone maybe. But thank God only a stinger. I think I heard he was supposed to be back at practice today.
Perfect.
So hopefully, he'll be taking it easy. Of course, we got the week off, so we're off next week, and get everybody rested up, and then we got Rutgers. We probably only need them for a half in that game.
Exactly. So everybody kick their feet up for a weekend and chill out, and come back ready next week. Anything else you want to cover? I think we took it from stem to stern.
Stem to okay. No, that's pretty much it. Now, just overall, just glad to see us play the way I knew we were capable of playing.
Yeah.
And to send a message to college football.
Definitely.
We lost half a dozen, or a dozen players to the NFL. We had some pretty good fucking guys sitting behind them.
Mm-hmm.
And these kids want to prove it. I mean, they definitely play with a chip on their shoulder. We can only build on this. I can't see any real negatives about a victory like this because we had to earn it, but it wasn't just like a walkover. But at the same time, huge confidence builder.
Yeah.
We showed we were far superior.
Definitely. Definitely earned that number 2 spot in the polls. We'll see how things continue. I know Michigan's going to drop, but we'll see what happens with Clemson and Bama. Should be an interesting season.
Some people on the radio would probably take us on a neutral field over Bama right now. I heard they would take us because of our quarterback play over Bama's. And some people would be voting, or if they had a vote, be voting us number 1 right now, just because of how impressive this Oklahoma victory was. Now, I would not be surprised if Oklahoma drops 1 more game, if not 2 more games.
Yeah.
You got to deal with, the locker room being shit. We're 1-2. When we beat up on a shit team, Louisiana Monroe. Their confidence is going to be real shook. I could see them dropping a high scoring affair to Baylor or TCU maybe. And possibly the Texas game. That's a rivalry game, just like Michigan, Ohio State.
Texas is much improved.
They can run the ball.
Yeah.
So they, if Oklahoma didn't learn some things from us putting 291 on them, Texas can do the exact same thing. And that quarterback can throw deep. They got a few track guys out there that are super fast too. So, Oklahoma. Hopefully, now obviously we need to root for Oklahoma and hope that they continue to win, but I could definitely see them losing 2 more games.
Yeah, they're still hanging on tooth and nail in the top 25, the AP top 25. They are 25. So,
right. Hopefully this victory still looks good at the end of the year. Where some people might say, well, at the time we thought Oklahoma was good, but shit, now they're 7-5.
Yeah.
But which, if Stoops starts losing that locker room, they could easily end up 7-5.
Yeah.
Or an 8-4. That's definitely within reach because these guys might start packing it in. Some of these NFL guys that they have, juniors and seniors might just start thinking, hey, I got to make sure I'm ready for the NFL. This season's gone, and you never know. We don't know the personality of the kids, but it's going to be hard to keep them upbeat because they're out of the playoffs contention for sure.
Yeah.
Still have a chance at the league title, but I guess that's what we could hope for, a 2-loss Oklahoma with Big 12 champion. That would just help our resume, but they're not getting into playoff for sure.
Right. Well, no shortage of upbeat citizens around this town and Columbus. Very happy with the win. Like we talked about, a few things to clean up, penalties and play calling, big ones, and we'll see what happens next. We'll wrap this puppy up, put a bow on it, send it off. Once again, this is the Buckeye Cast. I want to thank Jeff for being here.
No doubt, brother.
All right. And hit us up on the website, thebuckeyecast.com, and all social media at the Buckeye Cast. We'll see you guys next week. No game Saturday, so we'll hit you up early next week for a little pregame show. All right. Thanks, Jeff.
No problem, brother. Take it easy.
All right.
Don't fuck with me. Don't fuck with me. Get on boy, 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 get on boy. We just was bugging, you know what I'm saying? Don't